Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape for every one of us. I was kinda late, I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the faith, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Hardy is on the air. Had to drop a couple bars just to make you all aware. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know I go by Joe or the rest of the flow, yeah.
Hey y'all, welcome to a new episode of Podcast Live with your girl Stephanie Hardy, of course, the creator of this fabulous platform, HWP Extra, and Steph and Cat Talk Wow with Katrina, as well as contributing writer for Daily DDT. Please read my stuff and color commentator. And I am not alone because with me tonight I have a very special guest. She is the current All Caribbean Wrestling Women's Champion, and she is definitely a huge star on the rise. She is Kaylia Capri. How are you, ma'am?
That's me. I'm doing so good tonight. How are you doing, Steph?
I'm doing good. It's Monday, but
It,
I feel like I did have a good one, and everything. So I'm not gonna complain or anything. It's Monday night, so I'm just trying to sort of just chill out. But I'm so happy that we are on this show together, and I've just loved watching your growth. So getting to speak to you tonight is a huge honor.
Thank you. Oh my God, I am so excited that you wanted to talk to me. I'm happy that you followed along with the journey. So, ask me, ask away.
Absolutely. So when would you say you fell in love with wrestling, Kalia?
Literally the minute that it made sense for my personality. So if anybody that knows me from the beginning, like they understand that my personality has always been outgoing and big and bold, and it was always wild because I it was always athletic. I was always able to do crazy stuff. Especially when I had the idea and I'd toss and turn at night and I'd be like, oh, I got to do this today. Um, and then on top of that, I played a lot of sports, and then I was on a lot of teams. I did cheerleading for a while as well, so I learned a lot of body control along the way. And I think we all in my life, including me, were like, okay, so what is this gonna amount to at the end of the day? And the fact that I actually got an opportunity to get to WWE and learn how to professionally wrestle, it it wowed me because I said my struggle wasn't actually learning how to wrestle. It was learning how to perform wrestling. That was my issue. But learning how to wrestle, you could ask my coaches. They'd show me a move and instantly I'm doing it exactly how they do it because it's so fun. It's so much energy in it, and it's something that resonates with me very, very well. So I think the minute I got that DM and I went to Dallas for the tryout, I fell in love. I said I could do this.
Right. So it sounds like, even from a young age, as you were being, athletic, you would have like the mindset for it and the creativity for it, but not really knowing where you could put it all. But then you put it in all the places where it made sense. And so that's what I'm hearing from you. And I think that that's really amazing, because who knows why we have the visions that we have in life, right? But
Exactly.
I'm glad that you did. Have those visions because it ultimately led to you being where you are now. So that's pretty amazing. You mentioned that you did a lot of cheerleading. You also ran track and played lots of other sports as well. So how would you say being that athletic, fully conditioned you and prepared you for wrestling?
it was crazy because I think it took me in the proper stages. So it started out with ballet, which showed me a lot of body control that turned into karate, which made me realize I kind of didn't like hitting people because I wasn't comfortable with actually connecting my, especially because I know how people are, and I don't like taking people by surprise. Naturally, I just like, and it's very hard. People, we don't like to fight if we don't have to fight. So it's very hard to actually be a person to get in front of someone and say, "I'm gonna beat your ass." Excuse my language, but it was just a lot going into that. So I think at early, I learned a lot of body control from gymnastics and doing ballet. I learned how to let go mentally. I know in gymnastics, my biggest mental block was doing a backhand spring backflip. I remember I did it by accident one time when my coach told me to stop playing around. Of course, Kaylia Capri was not, I did not listen. I was just goofing around. I did the backhand backflip, and my coach was like, wow, that was really good. Do it on the floor. The minute I got on the floor, mental block, and they taught me to, even though you scared, in that moment of fear right there is when you go. Just go. And I did it, and they were like, you're amazing, but I just didn't like the doing the bar and all this other stuff. So I didn't resonate with gymnastics, which led me to, go in the track. And when I got there, that's when I realized I was super quick. And I realized I was fast on my feet, and I had a lot of power and a lot of speed on me. And, in track, it got to a point where I was fast. I was super, super fast. I was making these big meets and getting a lot of accolades, but it was just something that it was missing for me. It was something that was missing. In track, I feel like if you don't go pro very early, it's very harder. It's much harder to go pro later on because we have a lot of young people in track. It's like 100,000 of people trying to, you know what I mean? Like it's cycles of this stuff. So for me, when I got to that point where I realized, okay, this transition is looking a little shaky and I don't know what I'm going to do. In that moment right there is when I got that DM. And I said, hold on, wait. Me, a professional wrestler? And I said, you know what? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and see what it's like. See what it feel like, how my body reacts to it, how my mental reacts to it. And when I got there, I said, oh my God, I did this in gymnastics. Oh my God, I did this in cheerleading. Oh my gosh, I did this in karate. I did this in soccer. It's different things I took and I learned from track and this and that. And I applied it into pro wrestling. And I think it made me, I know Roxanna's the prodigy, but it might have made me a bit of a prodigy.
Yeah, I get that. That sounds amazing. Like just having your body being acclimated to so many different sports. Like gymnastics is so beautiful because I just admire those women so much because they put themselves through so much training from a young age.
They do.
And it takes a lot of discipline to be able to focus that hard and flips and do all those flips and do all of those bars and all of the above.
And be
But
perfect.
all of it, yeah, all of it really everything that you mentioned just takes a good level of discipline and focus. And being able to apply all of that to wrestling just makes a whole lot of sense because I mean, wrestling is a sport to me. Like I have always believed that wrestling is a sport, regardless of how other people feel about it. But I feel like it takes a lot of athleticism to be able to apply all of that, and it takes a lot of skill to be able to apply all of that to this one sport where you never know what you'll have to do on a regular basis at a show or whatever. So I think that's really cool. So, did you ever watch wrestling growing up, or what was the culture, or the mindset behind wrestling where you're from in the Bahamas? Like, because I know there had been some Bahamian wrestlers that were mostly male, to sort of make it into notoriety. But what was the culture like for you growing up there in terms of how they feel about wrestling?
So of course it was no, like you said, like female Caribbean native in wrestling dominantly at the time, or even up till now, till more. So the culture was more so for me, especially my favorites were always kind of men. I'm starting to notice I love the men. So Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, like, you know what I mean? Like John Cena, The Rock. And then when I would go to women, I'd say the Bella Twins and, Sasha Banks, Trinity, like all of these people. But in the Bahamas, when you think of the Bahamas, because okay, this is the best way I describe it to everyone. in the Caribbean, things are a little bit backwards. You know what I mean? We not in they're in 2023 in 2024 right now.
Hmm.
Right? So that means when the states get something, they get something first. And then it trickles down to the Bahamas because we in close proximity to the states, which means a lot of the culture it migrates to the Bahamas. So with wrestling, you kind of find it on those channels that were like weird channels, late at night, awkward times, you know what I mean? And the people that watched it were actually people who started watching wrestling when it was Steamboat. You know what I mean? Like Ric Flair, like these people who like built wrestling. So they have a
Right.
different mindset about it. And I feel like a lot of people in today's world, it's hard to accept our new community of wrestlers. It's a lot of a different atmosphere. So it didn't really come back to the Bahamas the way it would have had Ric Flair still been wrestling, had Triple H still been wrestling. I think the new names were not enough in wrestling at the time to reach the Bahamas. So it
Hmm.
was no need to stream it anymore. So people naturally fell off. They naturally forgot about it. And they didn't have a reason to remember it until now. Because not only do they have a female representation, something that they've been longing for, she is actually from the country. She was born there. She understands the culture. She understands what people from there want you to portray for them. And you doing it well. It's like, it's a whole new world for them. They opening up the door again. They're like, okay, we really didn't watch it anymore, but now we might have a reason. And the same thing goes for me. I felt like I started watching it during the time that I feel like I was resonating with the wrestlers. And then I stopped when I stopped resonating with them. And now that I'm here, I have a reason to be back into it. And I'm kept catching up on everything, learning the storylines. I'm following everything. I'm watching people. I know exactly who to, call out. And I know exactly how to get to the top. As you can see, I'm climbing under this Capri Sun. As long as I under the Capri Sun, everything's gonna be all right.
Absolutely. I think that's interesting that you say that because I find that that's a lot of people's stories, even in the US, how even when there were kids, or at least in my community, when there were kids that did watch wrestling, there was a point where a lot of the larger greats that came to be in the 90s, like the Rocks and like the Stone Colds, like when they sort of, fell off from WWE, they stopped watching. And if you were a diehard fan like I was, where you never stopped watching, it's almost like if you tell them that you watched wrestling, they were just kind of like, huh, you still watch that? And I'm like, yeah. And
Yeah.
I knew everything that was going on, whereas they sort of fell off from one point. So it seems very similar to that type of thing in the Bahamas, but now they have you, and it's like you're their crown jewel, no pun intended. Because that event just happened. It's like you're their crown jewel of sorts. You're their pride and joy in wrestling now. You give them a reason to want to pay attention because you're there, and then there's so many other talented people that you get to wrestle because you've gotten started and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty amazing that you mentioned that because and then to even speak about the Bahamas part, I had to ask about that because number one, growing up, I only ever heard of the Bahamas sort of like as a vacation spot.
Hmm.
And you never really like, no one ever really like came back and talked about the people. So in my mind, the older I got, I was just like, well, like do are there people there, like what are they like?
Right?
and
You
now
start to
and
wonder.
now that I'm yeah, so now that I'm older and I'm realizing, that there's a culture, there's an environment, there's like a livelihood behind it, I want to find out more, and I do want to visit, but at the same time, the people make me want to visit more. So I'm glad that you have that level of representation in wrestling and you're giving that vibe to us in that way. So you mentioned, your time in WWE and how they got in touch with you for a tryout. What was that time like for you, and how did you feel when they contacted you? You did mention how you were like, "Oh my God, like really, like me." What would you say were some of the best lessons that you learned during your time there?
It connected with people. That was like the biggest lesson I've learned. Like, don't let anybody walk in the room and then walk out and not know that you were in that room. That right there resonated with me. And I think when I was released and I got onto the Indies, I applied that lesson the most. And it got me into so many doors by just telling someone, hi, how are you? Good morning. Like asking them about their day. You just never know who you're talking to. And you never know like moments like that you can meet people. I feel like so this is a funny moment in Fight for Paradise. My bra broke in the match, right? Yeah, it was tough. And I was just running everywhere. I was just trying to find like time and timing. I did not get to actually, meet Carly Bravo, but he instinctively took off his shirt and they ran out with the shirt. Sadly, it was a muscle tee. It was. I would prefer the real shirt, but it was. It gave me a connection with him because it was so funny in that moment when I went backstage and he was like, I just saw you, and it was like, boom, I'm in now getting to be introduced to talent on these big stages, and it's like, wow, like I didn't even attempt to do that, but that's why you have to be a person who is okay with speaking, okay with connecting with people, okay with showing people who you are, and not even praying that they like you, just showing them who you are. And if they don't like you, don't worry, because they might like you later. That's usually how people work.
Okay. I think that's really good advice, and it's very sound advice, is that you just never know, who you're going to meet, and that networking is definitely important in wrestling. And I'm so happy that you met someone who had your back like that in a match, because Lord have mercy, women's bodies and women's clothes. They can just have a moment, and I can only imagine what it's like being as athletic as you are and having to worry about stuff like that. But I am so happy that that person had your back in
Right.
that way. Shout out to Carly Bravo for
No
having your back.
doubt.
And yeah, I'm glad that you learned that during your time there in WWE. So when so what gave you, or let me just say it like this, how did you decide that you were going to stick with wrestling even after you were released?
So it was more so the response. It was so crazy to me. Like I told you, for me to be a track star, and in my mind, I was going to be a track star, to kind of facing the reality that it's not possibly going to happen anymore, and I may have to face adulthood for real, to getting a contract with WWE, to being at WWE, learning all the things that I learned, and then being released after 9 months. And when I tweet, I am no longer with WWE, mind you, the only thing I've served to people is pictures. That's the only thing I've served. They should still be hungry. You know what I mean? I haven't served just looks. So for all of that to happen, I feel like it's fate, and I just follow my fate. From that moment when I actually got contacted, I said, you know what? If I'm gonna do this, I have to really commit to doing this. I can't just want to do it for a petty reason or a simple reason. It need to be deeper than that for me, and I need to actually agree and do it. So I just followed along with the fate, and everything led to another. I posted, I am no longer with WWE, and it blew up. I was like, what in the world is going on here? So watching it blow up, and then watching companies like ACW contact me and say, hey, we want you to come and wrestle here. And, working with WOW and everybody being on TV and getting these positive responses and blowing up on social media and blowing up here and blowing up here and people reaching out to me. None of that is telling me that I should stop. That is telling me people want to see this. Push, push, push. You doing something right. And I just committed to it. It was scary. I'm not going to lie to you, because I had to build something that I stopped a long time ago. I had to get into it. I had to find the passion for it. And I had to build something from the ground up after being, I guess, beaten down a little bit. Not beaten down for real, but that's what happens. That's how you build character. Life beats you down so that you can build yourself back up. So it's just like, in that moment, I was just like, let me trust it. Let's see where it goes. And suddenly Kaylia Capri was born. A new son. And I feel like I'm in the correct place for me. I feel like I have so much to give and I have so much learning to do that this process is going to be something that a lot of people most likely they gonna really want to watch. They're gonna really want to be with me on this ride, and I appreciate it so much that I'm gonna give you what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do remember around that time, um, I saw you pop up everywhere. And I was following you on social media anyway, because, when it comes to like new people who become a part of the thing, as a media person, you want to follow these people because you just never know what can happen, and how they'll rise and how they'll make it and everything. So just watching you continue with it, was very inspirational in the sense that, yeah, like, okay, this bad thing, well, not a bad thing, but this thing did happen. But at the same time, you weren't letting it stop you. And I think that that is a very beautiful thing because, like you said, life will knock you down, but you do have to build yourself back up and understand that none of this, just happens by accident. And clearly, everything that you learned and everything that you grew a passion for during your time in training, really showed you that you have a space here and that you belong here. And I'm really glad that you did not give up and you proceeded to build, from that momentum that you had. You used it to propel you forward, and not backwards. So I think that that is a beautiful thing. And then you mentioned Kaylia Capri was born, and yeah, who you are now is just absolutely vibrant and just full of light. And I just think that's amazing. So, what has that transition been like, going into the indies? Because you go from never having wrestled at all, training in WWE, and then going into the indies. So, what was that transition like for you, and how did you um, acclimate to it?
So I have the best analogy for this. This is the best analogy. It's just like going to college. Your first year, your freshman year, you're loaded with classes. You all got 8 a.m. all the way to 4 o'clock, labs, all this stuff. Sophomore year, still the same. Maybe you may get one class off. Junior year, a little less of a load. Okay. Senior year, you just gotta pass. You know what I mean? Now you just gotta graduate. So it gets easier. It got easier. I feel like at WWE, that was my freshman through sophomore year right there. And when I got on the indies, I got into my junior and senior year. That's when I really was just able to not think about wrestling anymore, more so about how I feel. I could control my emotions now. Now I can actually express myself properly, which is a little aggressive at times, but I'm able to really get myself out there and really resonate to what I do. And like, I don't ever want to do nothing for no reason. I always want you to get exactly where I coming from. I don't need it to be a question. I want us both to be able to have a really good conversation on what you are, what I'm portraying to you. So I get out there and it's just like now I don't even think about it. I get out there, I get to the place. I'm like, hey y'all, like what's up? Telling all the girls hi, like giving everybody hugs, even the ones that don't like me. I'm like, girl, come. One thing about me, I love people that don't like me because I'm gonna mess with you the most. I promise you, because I'm gonna give you hugs. I'm gonna always talk to you. I'm gonna always be nice to you, so you understand that you could be as mean as you want, but that's never gonna change me as a person. And the minute that clicks in their head and they realize they can't change me, suddenly they're like, you know what? She actually ain't that bad. So I'm at that point where I could really just be comfortable in wrestling and go out there and not even know what I'm gonna do. I'd be just as surprised as y'all when I watch the videos back. I'd be like, wow, I really did that. I can't believe myself right now. So I'm having so much fun right now. I'm in my senior year for sure. It's feeling like senior year.
Yeah, it's like you're rocking in your confidence, and that's something I really enjoy. I love that analogy because, oh my gosh, college was such a journey.
College
every
was a
time
journey.
I College is just hilarious, bro. Like at one point, it's like you think you're out on your own, but then you realize how much you don't know. And
Yeah,
then you learn some more, and then you realize who you are. And it's just really clear that you really know who you are. You have that confidence in yourself to the point to where you just don't let other people shake you. And that's something that I feel like it takes years for people to build up that kind of confidence. Like, oh my gosh, and so much growth and so much work, and that's not to say that you don't do any work, but I'm just saying, like, that takes a lot of work for some people to do, even me. So the idea that you feel like you're at that point in your career where you feel that confidence to be yourself, to actually, wrestle and be comfortable in this thing, it's just really amazing to hear. And I'm really happy that you've reached that point. So with this feeling of this being in your senior year, what would graduation feel like for you then?
Grad- to be honest, graduation looks like several things. Okay, several things.
Right.
Short term, I want to make an impact in every promotion that I'm in currently. Meaning, I want to be the best champion that ACW has ever had. I want
Hmm.
to go to Row and dominate. I want them to see me on the screen. Like currently, right now, I'm not being, advertised on the screen. So that's a small term goal. I need to be up there on that. People are coming to see Kaylia Capri. So I need that. That's small term. Larger term, I want to end up at a really big promotion, whether it's TNA, AEW, or maybe I might get ID. I'm looking forward to it. That's why I feel like if I complete the short term goals, they are actually gonna be impactful enough to actually cause something long term for me. And I'm open, ready, getting my mental there. And every day that I get to, get in a ring on the indies, that's another day for me to get better. And I'm excited. I'm always stay ready. Always stay ready, so I never have to get ready. Whenever that call come, whenever that opportunity come, I know that's gonna be the moment that I'm honestly scared for because like I really am not trying to do anything. I'm just giving y'all all of me, and if y'all really like me, I am really appreciative of that. So if I have the opportunity to be in front of a bigger audience, it's kind of scary because if they all like me, then more people are gonna like me. And then more people are gonna like me, and then more people are gonna like me, and it's like, oh my god! And for me, it's gonna be so surreal in this moment of, am I really impacting people this much? Am I really like, like it's scary to think about. It's scary to go from this to that. Like, oh my gosh, that's why I try to like start with the short term goals and keep myself. That's another thing I learned at WWE. You have to really you could see yourself there, but really take it back so that you don't overwhelm yourself. Take it one step at a time. Deal with stuff that's in front of you, and like really work towards something. Actually have it in your mind, but small steps towards it.
Absolutely. Okay, your graduation sounds pretty awesome.
Oh,
As graduate as graduations always are, because of course that's a very beautiful and flamboyant occasion. Um
right.
so I can't wait to see, what that looks like for you. So outside of wrestling, what are some things that you enjoy doing? Like what hobbies do you have?
So I dance every day. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I moonwalk. I don't moonwalk. I Caribbean walk where I just like move around, like do all that through my house. I like to maneuver through my house without looking. Sometimes I like to like do like keeping my skills sharp.
Mhm.
I like to jump over stuff. I like to just be home. I stretch a lot. I go to the gym. I may just stay in there for maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes of really stretching out my body, really just focusing my mind. I like to swim. I like to swim when my hair is like this. Not with my wig on, honey.
Of
I can
course.
swim then. I love taking pictures. Y'all gonna always see a picture coming out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Like my storage is full. It's been full for probably like 2 years now. Like I take pictures all the time because I always have a reason to take pictures. I am a content creator. I'm a brand ambassador, and I take everything I do, like I said, very seriously. So things like that. I like to put my thoughts into and really give people and brands what they want from me. So I do things like that. And then, I like to eat. I'm a foodie. I know I don't look like it,
Oh, look at
but
those guns.
right? But but I'm a big foodie. I will go out and find some food all day and eat. I like Masago because it reminds me of Finding Nemo. Have you ever seen that scene in Finding Nemo where the barracuda ate the fish eggs in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of fish eggs. So when I eat it, I feel like the barracuda.
Oh, so you can eat those.
Yeah, they like really, really tiny. They super, super yummy. And I always be like,
Oh, okay. So I didn't know humans could eat those. Okay.
yeah,
That's fascinating. I didn't
yeah.
know.
You don't eat sushi?
No, yes, I do eat sushi.
Oh, it's called masago. It's called masago. It's like they usually use it for garnish for other
Yeah.
sushis, but I usually get the whole masago. I get a nigiri, so they put a bunch of masago on there. And I'm from the Bahamas, so I everything seafood, everything from the ocean. Count me in.
Okay, because the sushi that I eat actually has shrimp tempura in it because I just love shrimp.
I
But I don't really like explore outward that much because I just don't like to spend my money on food that I know I'm not gonna eat.
can eat.
Like, because I'm just like, look, if I'm gonna spend my money on it, I have to know that I'm gonna eat it or I have to know I'm gonna like it. Otherwise, it's a waste. So, and I don't like wasting money or food. So I'm just like,
Yeah, I
no.
feel that. I feel that. But you gotta try it. Try it one time. It's called Masago. It's orange. Or even search it up. Just search it up before you try it. It's good though. I like it.
Cool. Awesome. I like that. I'll give that a try. So, since you've been I love how you mentioned your dancing because you did a lot of that on Wow. And because I am a co-host for a Wow after show with Katrina from In Cat We Trust, Steph and Cat Talk Wow, we did enjoy, seeing your debut as Sierra Breeze on Wow. Like we loved you and your representation and what you brought, as a WoW superhero. So, what was that experience like? And just how was that for you to be a part of an all women's promotion? Basically, like the only all women's wrestling TV show. Like, we
it
love
was
that show. So, what was that like?
it was so good. I think that was the best way to introduce myself to the indies. It was
Hmm.
all women that cared. It was all women that were willing to teach me. It was all women that were able to just, see me as a competitor as they are. And the matches were so fun. I was able to actually, get a little personality. That was the first time I ever put my personality into a match for real on a live television series. And I was so nervous. I was like, I was like, I gotta whine on TV. They gotta watch me whine. So I was so nervous. So when I did the back row and I got up, I paused a little bit and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my chance. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Like in my mind, I was like, oh, do the whine, do the whine. I was like, wow, that's my chance right here. And it was so funny watching it back because I was like, okay, I low-key hit it. I low-key hit it. And I just from there started catching on to moments because it's always that moment, that Spidey Man moment. We like to call it that moment where you just looking at each other and you like, okay, you outsmarted me. And that's the moment where you like, ha ha ha, yeah, I did, I got you, I got you. So you gotta celebrate. You gotta have your celebrations for those moments. And I'm starting to learn my celebration moments, and I'm taking them for sure. So this is the joke, right? This is another joke. I always knew I had a problem with celebrating when I was in high school. We had the biggest, like one of the biggest meets in our careers. It was a all relay meet. Everything was relay. 4x2s, 4x1s, 4x4s, 4x50s, you could name it. We were running the 4x200. Boom. I was talking to my team. I hyped them up. I was like, yo, we gotta win. We gotta do this. We gotta do this. They was into it. I was into it. Baton gets to me. I'm running. Mind you, I got the national champion behind me. I got the world leader behind me. I got all these people behind me. I'm in high school. It's just a time and a place you celebrate. But I'm running. I see the finish line. I stop running. I put my hands in there like this. Woo! Before I cross the finish line. When I looked in the corner of my eyes, I saw those girls. And mind you, the world champion, Kiana was about 6 foot for sure. Or maybe 5'11" for sure. Janae is just a horse, okay? She's just a horse next to me. We were at the line. This is a bad time to celebrate. Kaylia, this is not a good time to celebrate. I said, woo! Crossed the line. My coach came to me and said, y'all almost lost by 0.001. That's how much we won that fight. All because I chose to celebrate at the wrong time. So that I have a bad celebration, like when I feel that I'm gonna win, I'm gonna have that spidey moment because I'm gonna take that moment to celebrate. So in the ring, I take a lot of those moments. When I do something big, you're gonna see me literally not cover. Like I've heard commentators say, why don't she cover? Why don't she cover? Why don't she cover? Because and I don't need to cover. Because y'all see that. Did y'all see what I just did just now? Like I had to take that moment.
Yeah, and what's so funny is it's just like you might have thought it looked awkward, but just seeing you dance and just the vibrant colors that you would wear, even the hair that you would wear on Wow, it was just like it was so refreshing. And it's just like you being yourself was just the coolest thing ever. And you bringing your culture there was just so cool. And them bigging it up was amazing to hear as well. So, I mean, we enjoyed watching you on Wow. And if you ever want to go back, by all means,
Of
you
course.
can you
Oh,
can
I'm
so we can talk about you some more.
definitely trying to go back. And by
Yes,
any means, I'm definitely trying to go back to WoW because I'm trying to bring this personality to WoW. They saw Sierra Breeze, but now they're gonna see Sierra Breeze.
exactly. And that's level 2. And with that, it would be absolutely amazing to see again. So if you ever want to come back, then please do, because we're going to talk about you, and it's going to be cool, and it's going to be vibes, and we're going to
Right?
enjoy it. Because I love the match that you had with Penelope Pink. That
I
was lit.
loved it. It was lit. I love working with Penelope. Like I just was able to just let go, not think of anything, and really, really lock in with her and really fight.
Oh yeah, because she is a tough cookie. To me, I feel like even though I give her a lot of mess, and I've been giving her mess for like the past few years since I've been
Uh-oh.
covering WoW, she and I have a like a relationship online or
The
whatever.
love hate.
Yeah, love hate. Deep down inside, I really feel like she kind of is like the one. Like she's the full package to me when it comes to that show. Because just like she has the words, she has the skill, she just has the it factor. She just has everything. And I might not ever say it all the time, but deep down inside, that is how I feel about her. So seeing you face off against her, and she's like a former champion too. So it's just
Yes.
like to see you face off against her was just kind of like you fighting a standard bearer in WoW. So it was just really cool to witness.
Right. It was a perfect way to introduce me to WoW, and it put me on guard. It showed me these women they are tough. Don't get it wrong because it's all women and it's cute and girly, but these women are tough. These women are coming out here. Once we in the center of that ring, all that smiling and cordial stuff, it's out the window. It's time. If you really want something from me, which is a win, you're gonna have to fight for it. That's sure.
Absolutely. So currently, in speaking more about women's wrestling, you are the All Caribbean Wrestling Women's Champion. So what type of prestige do you hope to bring to your title reign, and who are you looking to face off against, in order to add more prestige and glory to your title?
So I think I'm gonna keep it until someone earns this. I'm not gonna pass my torch. Maz can say a lot of things, but one thing she can say is she and I met in the center of that ring, and I looked at her in her eyes and I said, "I want that," and I got that. You know what I mean? I got it by any means. So anybody that steps to me, I need the same energy. I'm not about to step to someone who's not even confident, like you said, enough to hold this. You have to have a level of confidence to you in order to hold a championship. You cannot be easily stepped to. Okay, if anyone can easily step to you, then they all gonna step to you. So you have to have that leadership role, that confidence to where people understand. Before you come to me, make sure you have your stuff together, because it's not going to be as easy as you think. And I would hate for you to continue on, taking L's. Like sometimes taking L's really does beat you down. And if you do not have the mental to continue to take an L and come back, take an L and come back, I don't suggest you coming after my title. Maybe someone else, but not my title, because you can feel upset. So I think maybe I could speak to maybe JB Cool and see if he could set up, maybe they could do a battle royale and then that can figure it out, or a last woman standing match, whatever they want to do. I don't think I want to pick. I want to see who really wants it. I want to see who's willing to climb for real and meet me here, just like I had to climb. We all got to climb. So come on, the door is open. Just climb up.
Absolutely. Shout out to JB Cool and all Caribbean wrestling. I hope, a battle royal sounds like a very diplomatic way of handling things and finding a number one contender. So,
Right.
if he wants to make that decision, then by all means, lead the way and all the girls step up because, hey, you got to climb just like everybody else in life.
We all got to climb.
So, Kaylia, who do you believe is your toughest opponent that you've faced so far?
Definitely Maserati. The toughest opponent I've ever. That match, when I tell you, it was a couple times she knocked the Mario coins, Sonic coins, whatever they call it, a few times. Wow, I was like I had to literally, really in that moment, get disciplined. I was like, she's really like, she's not trying to give this to you. You have to take it. You have to take it. It was moments where I just really had to snap myself back into, especially dealing with the malfunction of my outfit and just having intruders like Vanessa wanting to come in, wait until we down, like wait until we literally down to just come out and just overcomplicate things even more. And like in that moment, I really had to get myself together. I really was like, I think they have it on camera. I actually got out the ring and I was like, come on, you could do this. Get yourself together. Let's reset. Like in that moment, I had to speak to myself and get right back in that ring and face Maz and really go for something. It was tough because Maz Logie is so seasoned. So anytime I go to do something, she knows the reverse. She always has that Uno reverse on me, like Uno reverse, and I'm like, ah! So I'm having to find ways around. I'm having to wait. Like she don't put her guard down. That's what I've noticed. She don't put her guard down. You have to work for her to stop noticing stuff. Woo! Hey, Maserati might be a old car, but that can't work.
Yeah. Maserati is someone who I've seen, in the ring before and I've worked with her before. So she is an amazing talent. So I can definitely agree that she would be probably a very tough opponent for anyone. But I'm glad that you were able to step up to the occasion of
Right.
facing someone like her because that woman is decorated, like
She's
highly decorated.
like this decorated.
Right, exactly. So I'm glad that you were able to step up to her. So who would you say is your dream opponent?
Mercedes Monet.
Hmm.
Dream opponent. That's gonna be such a great match. I know she is not gonna play. And I love that about her because I'm a Caribbean woman. I naturally have a sass. I naturally have a spice to me. I'm outgoing. I naturally am gonna step up to the plate when it comes to defending my honor. And I feel like she's the same way. So with the both of us in there, I feel like it'll be a mutual respect on both ends that we both know that this is gonna be something magical. Cause we both want it. We both want it. So this is gonna be something magical. And I've been watching her for so long. I think that was when I started watching wrestling again. She was the main person that actually made me fall in love. NXT Brooklyn, I'll always talk about that match with her and Bailey. That match really made me feel I was in there. My heart was racing. I was breathing heavy. I was with them. And I realized I want to battle Sasha Banks. Like I want to get in the ring with that lady. She is good. She is beyond good. She is talented. She is intelligent. She's beautiful. She's the freaking CEO. So the CEO needs to see the Capri son.
Yes, shoot your shot, okay? Shoot your shot. And I feel like women's wrestlers from now until forever are going to talk about that match and what it did for women's wrestling because in my opinion, other people have said this too, but in my opinion it is the greatest women's wrestling match of all time. And to me, Mercedes Moné is the GOAT. She's my personal GOAT, and I will argue with anybody about that. But not now.
Me too.
But either way, she is my GOAT. So the idea that, you mentioned her as your dream opponent, it tracks because she definitely has, a generation of women to come after her. She's inspired a lot of people, along with the other three horsewomen, in
Yeah.
Charlotte, Bailey and Becky Lynch. So I'm just so happy to have grown up in a time where women's wrestling has grown to what I've always wanted it to be as a little girl, and watching it as an adult now, it just feels so powerful and just so real for who women actually are, and not just through the gaze of what men have wanted us to be. We are who we want to be, and I think that's manifesting itself in more ways than one. But we'll just leave it right there. Um, so, in the midst of everything, what would you say? How do you feel about the state of wrestling and what's good about it and what could be better about it?
So what I like about the state of wrestling is, like you said, the change, the switch, the new age of women that we have, the new criteria, the new era, the new things that we could do, and all of the creativity that's being brought to wrestling, and all of the new eyes. I think the best part is just the fact that we're in a whole new era where you're gonna see any and everything, every style, every look, every shape, every sound. You're gonna see so much things, and it's so inclusive. I love the inclusivity of wrestling. When I talk to anybody and I tell them about wrestling, the reason they always say, "Why you sound like you love it," is because I always say anybody can wrestle. Anybody can wrestle. If you put your mind to it and you genuinely want to have a good time and get a great workout, and get frustration out, and just release the mental stress. Wrestle. Wrestle is a hobby. You don't even have to take it to WWE. Wrestle is a hobby. That is the most freeing thing that I feel like anybody could do. And when you do it with someone who you trust, like, it's even better. So I that's what I love about wrestling. And what I think could get better is us, us as women, us as just a wrestling community. I think we could invite more people into the community, because now we have the possibility to go from, "Oh, I never used to watch wrestling," to, "Oh my God, did you see that clip that was going viral?" Like, and it's not just certain communities, it's spiral. I need everyone to know about it. I don't want anybody, I want the whole entire world to feel the inclusivity of wrestling. So no matter where you at, how you grew up, if y'all had this, if y'all didn't have this, I feel like wrestling could get back to that point where everybody knows who you are without even having to see you. Without They could just hear about you from someone else. You know what I mean? We have the beauty of growing into that. So I think that's what we could get better at doing. Including more parties, because when I came from my school at Texas Southern, nobody there knew thought about wrestling. None of that. Like, because it wasn't even a sport that was offered at our school. So I'm glad that I'm able to do something, because now I could be like, "Hey, y'all have a reason to start, bringing wrestlers to Texas Southern, because we have talented wrestlers everywhere." You know what I mean? And even in my country, like, I have so much streams of bringing things and including people, and making people feel like, you know what? When I watch wrestling, I feel like I with my family all over the world, and I think that's a good feeling that I would want everyone to know about.
Absolutely. That is so great. It's so funny that you said that about watching wrestling and how you feel like you're watching it with like a worldwide family. That is exactly what it feels like. And even when you're live and when you go to shows and you're talking to all these people that love this one thing that you love, it's a very united feeling and it feels amazing. To know that all these people are on one accord and feeling a lot of the feelings that you're feeling about what's going on in the ring and the stories being told and the athleticism that's happening. Like it does feel good. And for us to include more people, I think that's the best thing. So I definitely agree with that. Like we need in order for wrestling to grow, we need more eyes. And I cannot wait for more of that to happen because it's happening, but I can't wait for more of it to happen even within the next year. There's so much more for it to grow, and I just can't wait to see how it's going to grow. And speaking of Texas Southern, it's so funny you said that because I just watched the Megan Thee Stallion documentary,
Yeah.
and she graduated from there. And you
Yes.
mentioned how they didn't necessarily have a wrestling program, but they got a little involved in the wrestling stuff because their band was at WrestleMania with Bianca Belair's entrance, so
Hmm.
they kind of got involved with the
Right?
thing.
They're dipping their
So
toes into it. They just
so
needed
maybe one day
a
they might.
right. They just needed a like. I feel like it needed a more solidified reason. You understand? People are more
Hmm.
likely to go towards things when they actually have a figure. I am not only a figure for the Bahamas, but I'm a figure for Texas Southern University as well because it shows that me, not only just me, it's a ref over reality of wrestling that is a graduate of Texas Southern University as well, and it shows that you have people coming out of this school in the flesh, and it's a great way to use that figure and put that online and say, hey guys, if y'all know her, she's from Texas Southern. If y'all know her, she started here. If y'all know her, because of her, we're going to implement this program because she's showing us that we have people that are interested in this or might be interested in this. And I spoke with the dean. I was able to spoke because we had homecoming, so I was on the hunt for them too. I was like, where is the dean at? Because they walk around campus, you can find them. And when I found them, I introduced myself. I got their contact information because I'm keep that one actually in my back pocket until
Of
it
course.
happens. But just know we had a great conversation, and I definitely wanted to implement a few things at Texas Southern that was never implemented before, and I would love to be the first always. Like I already born on October 1st, so it's only right that I'm the first Bahamian female wrestler, the first one to make it to WWE, the first one to win the ACW women's title in the Bahamas, the first one. I just got to keep going with the first.
Absolutely. I feel that. And, I feel like you're yet another great example of how, HBCU grads go on to do amazing things. And I say that all the time. I say that on WOW and I say that in everything that I do. Like, if you attend an HBCU, you are destined for greatness. Like any institution, but most definitely an HBCU, you are destined for greatness. And I feel like your career in wrestling and even, people like the referee you mentioned in Raw, and even with Megan Thee Stallion and her theme song being on SmackDown now, like that is definitely a greater representation of how far you can go with an HBCU education. So I'm so proud of that. I'm proud of you and you stepping out there to be the first person to make that move. Of course, we're going to keep that quiet, keep it on the hush hush. But I'm glad that whatever move that is, you made it and that's cool. So shout out to y'all because yeah, y'all just make us so proud. I'm just so
Right, go
happy.
Tigers.
Yeah. So what would you say the future holds for you, Kaylia?
The future is bright. Once I'm under the Capri Sun. Sorry, I cracked myself up. But it is bright. I mean, I'm so excited to take these next steps. Every day that I am able to wake up and actually go to wrestling practice. I just came from Devon Dudley School tonight, and it was so great being able to practice with Jake St. Patrick. It was great just being there rolling around at the place that opened their doors to me when I was just like, hey, I know how to do a headlock takeover, but I actually do not know how to do a body slam. Like he took me in, he showed me the ropes, and he really, really, really supported me through the my whole getting my visa process. And so the future is bright. I just looking forward to waking up tomorrow, getting to go to practice again, getting to perfect some moves before I go to row. I have a show November 10th for Reality of Wrestling in Texas City. And I'm looking forward to it. I get to see my girl Jada Stone. I know she's gonna be there. I don't know if y'all know yet, but Jada, me, and Maya have formed our own trio because it just made so much sense. They are the first ever female tag. Didn't I tell you I was gonna go with these first? So
Yeah.
we are the that's TH3. We the hottest three. Y'all already know. Y'all can see our faces together a lot. Like this is gonna be not calling out the big three now, not calling out the big three. But if the big three wants to, talk to us, see us, we open to it. We could have a conversation about how we feel about the versus the big three. You know what? My future looks bright. I'm excited for this.
You know what? That makes me very excited, and the idea that it could happen just makes me even more thrilled. Oh my God. That's just so much black magic, black girl magic in one ring. Like I
Oh
feel
my
like I
gosh.
would just pass out if that happened. Like cuz I've had Maya World on my show before. So shout out to her, and I need
Hey.
to talk to Jada because I've heard so many great things about her. So I'm just really excited that you guys are a trio. That sounds so great. And I really do need to tune in to Row a little bit more. I really do. But
Exactly.
that makes me want to watch it a little bit more. And I'm so excited for your future. You're a champion, you're rising and you're learning, more and more. And most importantly, you're being yourself. And I think that's an incredible thing. So, Kaylia Capri, thank you so much for coming on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. And if you don't mind just telling everybody where they can find and follow you and what you've got going on, you may do so now.
Yes, y'all can follow me on TikTok and on Instagram at __ LEXINI or type in Kaylia Capri and on all platforms and you definitely will find me.
Absolutely. And of course, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and X/Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. Follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. Listen to the audio of this episode when it is released on tonight. And you can go and watch this YouTube video if you weren't able to watch it live on the YouTube channel and subscribe so we can get those numbers up. But Kaylia Capri, thank you so, so much for coming on my show. And of course, if you ever want to come back, you are more than welcome to.
I'm definitely
So,
back.
absolutely. Like, this has been an amazing conversation. So, of
Thank
course, yeah, of course. So, this has been the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl, Stephanie Hardy and Kaylia Capri. And until next time, bye, y'all.
you.